it than humans can. College students are on their phone like 10 hours a day.
Wow.
People spend about like 1/3 of their time just looking for important information on the web when they're searching on Google, for example. And when you go through like the first couple links, you see that like a lot of the information is actually irrelevant to what you're searching for.
Totally.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
all SEO garbage.
Initially, our dream was to make a human-filtered web. I think this right now is like the closest we've ever been as a product towards that dream.
Hello, this is Hamza. I'm the CEO and founder of NewForm, and I want to welcome everyone to the first episode of Distribution by NewForm, a podcast where we interview growth leaders in consumer and talk about growth strategies and the new world of marketing. So today I'm here with Alex Yoon, who's the head of US at Liner. Liner is an AI search engine for students with millions of users worldwide. And they're a Korea-based company, but they're growing rapidly in the States. And today we're going to be talking about their growth efforts here in the States and abroad. Alex, would love for you to introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about Liner. And then we can talk more about, how you guys are tackling growth.
Yeah. My name is Alex. Like Hamza just mentioned, I'm head of US for Liner. And Liner is a search engine for undergraduate students and researchers. And currently, we recently received our Series B funding, about $29 million. And we're headquartered in Seoul, but we also have an office that we opened last October in San Francisco. And currently we're working a lot with students right now at like UC Berkeley, USC, Davis, UC Irvine. Oh, and also my Gaucho school, Santa Barbara as well. But
nice.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey. It's next week's actually just going to be like our 1 year mark of opening the SF office. So I can definitely talk about that as well.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you.
So how did, Liner, when did you guys start? Like when was the company founded?
The company was founded in 2015. So
wow.
9 years ago, right? And obviously that's like before like the whole AI boom. And we just to talk about like the origin story.
Would love to hear.
It was founded by two college students from South Korea, Yonsei University actually, and
it's like the Harvard of like South Korea is what I heard.
Harvard, Stanford of Korea. Okay. Not that many schools in Korea, but still. And we started as a highlighter product. So it was a web highlighter where students and researchers would basically read articles, and when they find something meaningful to them or important, they would just make a highlight, and that would be saved in their personal space on the web. And it was a B2C consumer product that was provided through the extension and also the mobile app. Yeah. And that's how it all started. And we started that because initially our dream was to make a human filtered web. And I think this right now is like the closest we've ever been as a product towards that dream. And what that means is people spend about like 1/3 of their time just looking for important information on the web when they're searching on Google, for example. And when you go through like the first couple links, you see that like a lot of the information is actually irrelevant to what you're searching for.
Totally. Yeah, it's all SEO garbage. Like sometimes I would rather search on TikTok or Instagram rather than like go to Google because the top results almost always suck.
Yeah, and our approach with the highlighter product was that, well, if the robots can't do it, then humans can. And we wanted to combine the human element of it and the AI component of it. But back then, like, it was too early for the technology to, and also for the team as well. And what we thought we could at least do, start with at least, was, okay, we're going to basically accumulate all the data that is coming from the web as people are highlighting. And we thought of each highlight as people leaving coordinates across the web of important information. So, okay, where's, in terms of like political science, like where is like the important information located? In terms of data science, like where are people highlighting to basically learn more and then grow more in that industry? And we accumulated that data for about like almost 10 years now. And
wow.
The first phase of the product for Liner was the highlight extension. And right after the Series A, which is like when I joined, it was about like 5-6 people. We launched our first like recommendation feed. So it was a content discovery feed where the articles would be recommended based on your highlights. So let's say you highlighted an article about like mobile growth or different growth strategies that are coming from Korea, then we would recommend you articles based on that.
Wow. Okay. So it was like a recommender algorithm.
It was a recommender algorithm.
Okay.
Yeah, that we constantly push forward to, and we were honing our technology towards that way as well. And we still use that technology today. And just kind of coming in near today, last year, or end of 2022, like the whole AI boom started, right? Like the launch of ChatGPT also gave a huge shift in the market. And that was a very confusing moment to us for sure, because we were recommending all these wonderful articles for people to read. But when we saw like what ChatGPT was sourcing out, we thought, oh, like, are people still going to read through entire articles and still going to read through entire content? And we thought that future was a bit shaky at that point. So what we did was we started to sharpen our product more towards an AI search engine. And we had the database ready that we were using for the content recommendation. All we needed to do was basically connect that database into a fine-tuned LLM model. And yeah, we thought like it was now or never. And we just jumped right into the AI search market.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So that sounds like it was around like 2023 when the company pivot happened.
Yeah.
And how did that go? Like, what was the reception like for current users? Were you going after new users? I'm curious how that pivot went.
Luckily enough, like even on our extension side, there were a lot of product changes that happened. So for example, like initially when you could only like highlight on the web and also on YouTube, we started launching out summarization features where people would be able to summarize the entire article at once. Or we even have like an auto highlight feature that basically pre-highlights some important text across the web on the extension side. And luckily enough, like there wasn't like much drop off even after the huge product positioning shift on the extension side. Usually when you just change the core feature of the product, usually the existing users are like, oh, where did this go? But we made sure that the key functionalities, especially the ones with higher engagement, which was a highlighted feature still in the beginning, that was like easiest to like locate. So it's still easy to highlight on our extension, but it has like additional AI features that lets you consume information faster.
Got it. Nice. And like with this new product, did you launch it domestically first? Was it launched in the States first? I'm curious kind of how you went about the distribution launch strategy.
Yeah. So I think just to make it more clear, even when we started as a highlighter product, our co-founders launched a product in San Jose.
Wow. Okay.
So they had this, they had a previous business that they basically like left. And with that money, they stayed in San Jose at an Airbnb, and then they basically like made one app a day, right? And the highlighter one was the one that had like organic inflow kept coming that kept on coming in. So and that was like the start of everything. And ever since we started our presence as a highlighter product, like we always had like the US acquisition as like number one organic acquisition. So we've had United States customers since day one, and they've been our number one priority ever since. And even when we were launching the US office, we did have a lot of like US users, and even with like US and India combined, that would be like more than 50% of our user composition.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice. And then in terms of like your go-to-market, it sounds like is mostly students, right? How are you reaching students right now? And what initiatives do you guys have to get them to use the product?
Yeah. So just kind of like leading on from the previous context, like I think the question would be like, even though you had US users, why are you going like school by school? And why did you open up a US office? And basically during COVID, like we lost a lot of touch with our local customers. So basically we were a company located in Seoul, and back when I joined, it was like 5 to 6 people that were making the product. But as like the team grew, like basically the percentage of team members that haven't spoken with customers grew over time, especially during COVID, because that's also when our team grew a lot. And at that point, like we thought we were making products without talking to customers enough. And especially with the launch of AI, when you have a consumer product that uses AI as like one of its core features, you get to do so many things. But when you start getting to do so many things, people start wondering like, what exactly is this? Like, how are we going to define this product? So people kept on asking me like, what is liner? What is liner? And what is liner? And that was like part, like when we really figured out that we really got to talk to customers and we really got to define our product to what kind of AI product they want this to be. And we found that route as we were talking to more students, and that's how we kind of found our track back to the human filtered web. Because initially we thought like, could this be like a writing tool? Could this be like a summarization tool? Could this be like something else? And what the students really wanted was the same thing as something that we've pushed forward to with our agenda since day one. And it was like finding the relevant information across the web.
Right.
Yeah. So the search engine was our priority. And when we're focusing more on students and trying to find them more, we didn't have like a local network here because even though I grew up in America, I mainly grew up in SoCal and didn't really know anyone in the Bay. And like, you probably know this, but if you want to get like more plugged in with other Korean founders, then you ask for an intro to a Korean founder, right?
Right.
And if you want to learn more about startups, then you probably talk to someone who's in a startup. And as a non-student, the best way to talk to a student is by getting introduced to a student. And that was why we started prepping for the student ambassador program during the summer, and then we launched it this past July in a couple schools. Yeah.
Nice. What are the first two schools you guys launched?
USC and UC Berkeley were the top schools. And
nice.
We just kind of went through our database and saw like which schools were organically like growing the fastest. And UC Berkeley and USC were always on the top. And UC Berkeley is like really well known as like a research institute as well. So we're not going to find out like what students are going to like unless we have like a one-to-one interaction, not just like seeing everything on like a dashboard data. And we just want like more human interaction to learn more about customers and to utilize that insight to like either paid marketing or brand marketing, or even in our product onboarding flow. We want to utilize that. So yeah.
Now, like that student ambassador program, like, since July, how has it actually taken shape? Were you guys, on the ground? Were you just, doing some giveaways? Like, how did that actually take form? And, what would you say were the most effective strategies, like getting to reach students?
I think we did a couple of things. We also did like, we did a lot of Chick-fil-A giveaway.
Nice.
Students love Chick-fil-A.
You took the recommendation.
Yeah, I took the recommendation. But we did also like do some iterations in the middle where to make sure it wasn't just like going to be like a sandwich giveaway event. Like we wanted to make sure that students like knew what the product was. So we actually left like a couple steps in the middle to like give this before giving the sandwich. Like we would make sure that they hear our pitch, or we make sure that they like see our key features to learn like how it's different from other AI products. So that was one of the things we did. We were also doing like a lot of like student club partnerships to gain like local presence and gain more opportunities to talk to students directly. Yeah.
Nice. And then where would you say that program has worked the best? Like, which school do you think it did the best in?
I think it's too early to say for now, but definitely schools where usually schools that have like a higher research interest, and also schools that have a like a higher faculty, higher student to faculty ratio works best. Surprisingly enough, like when students like need more help with their academics, and usually there's not like a really like a one-to-one like faculty match that helps out students out, they usually turned out to be like the better schools that we could work with. And I think it also has to do with like we want to kind of focus our efforts towards like really thinking and deciding about what's best for students. And I think that should make sense also from a marketing standpoint, because if we only push forward our own agenda with the students, then there's not much reason for students to be genuine with us. There's not much reason for students to be willing to give us like honest product feedback, or introduce to another student and talk about Liner, or just wish for Liner's success on their campuses. So right now we're just trying to make as many students as possible that really want Liner to win in this market. Yeah. That's like, I would say that's my core strategy. Yeah.
Got it. And one thing that we were talking about before, that I'd love to ask you about here is like, obviously the HQ is in Seoul, but you guys have an SF office. How do you guys balance, the remote team? And it sounds like most of the growth team, if not all the growth team, is in the SF office right now. So how's that transition been? And I'd love to learn more about like how you guys are building that kind of remote culture as well.
So we have this culture right now where we send a team every month to SF. And that's one of the reasons why we also have like a live-in workspace, so that they don't have to like search for expensive SF hotels.
Oh, wow. Okay.
In the area. Yeah. And I don't think this would have been possible without like the support of our founders, but our founders had a very strong belief that you have to be there to see it and learn. Mm-hmm. You can't just get like a document filled with customer insights or a document full of data points and expect to like know the customers here without actually seeing them face to face or talking to them. And it's also better in terms of like what kind of company we want to move forward to as well. If there's only one person, designated person that's only in the US, while everyone, like every other like 45 personnel is in Korea, then that's just going to be a Korean company. Then if that's the case, then we should have never even ventured out to San Francisco. Wow. If we want to be a company that's located here, that has a presence here, and that's going to start growing the team here, then it has to be with everyone. It just can't be like different functionality that's like in Seoul and United States. So our goal is to like make sure that every single team, even whether they're like fluent speaking in English or not, they all get at least one chance or one opportunity to come to the States and attempt to talking to customers. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, I think I don't know, was it maybe like DoorDash or something where it's like every employee, no matter what you did, you had to like order or like deliver a DoorDash delivery like every day. I don't know which company did this, but like I love that idea of just everyone, no matter the function, doesn't matter if you're on growth side, product, engineering, having that interaction is core. Because if you don't know what, at the end of the day, if you don't know what you're optimizing for and you're just kind of like looking at a screen all day, it doesn't really drive value for users.
Yeah, so it's like the dog feeding, but like an international version, right?
Yeah. So, you mentioned, Liner has, both, web, we have extension and also mobile. And, from, our work together, it sounds like mobile is becoming more of a focus now. So, why mobile, why is mobile more of a focus right now for you guys? And what do you guys see in there versus web for your product?
Right. So even though Liner is a research product and most people think about like research in a setting where everyone's just sitting down in the lab and just like looking through their laptops or computers, right? But when we actually talk to customers, it seems like they're doing a lot of like instant research as well from day to day. So they engage in deep diving research on their desktop too, but they also do like quick research throughout their like lab meetings or weekly meetings. And when the professor asks us something, they need to know it pretty well with reliable sources, and they're using Liner. And there's a lot of research, obviously, like talking about like how big mobile is, obviously, for the influence over students. But on average, like college students are on their phone like 10 hours a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm an example, but
I probably spend more time. But just raising our presence in the mobile area also just gives like a reminder to students amongst like so many other different services that you use, that Liner is there for them and it's available for them. But it can't really happen without like the effort of like also growing our app. Like, sure, we're big on desktop, but if we constantly want to engage with students and constantly tell them like what's coming out, what's new with Liner, then we gotta keep our socials growing. We gotta have them install our app, also try it out a couple times a day. Yeah, those are some of the things that we're doing right now.
And what would you say are like kind of the biggest drivers for people to install Liner? Like obviously, you know, we're making a lot of content for you guys right now. We're learning about that as well. But from your side and like what you're seeing, you know, what are those like key pain points for students that like make someone want to download like the mobile app?
I would say so basically when they're in class, it's hard for them to just like always access on their desktop or their iPad because they're taking notes at the same time. So it's just easier for them to just pick their phone out and then just search for the right reference or just take a picture of like the screen that they're looking at to search for something deeper. And I think the OS like camera capability that you can also use with Liner, it also helps a lot.
Nice.
So basically take a picture of like the problem that you're facing right now in the classroom.
Yeah, we're seeing that as a wow feature right now. Yeah.
And then take that and then ask like, oh, explain this like deeper to me, or tell me about like relevant information across this, or what's like the latest update on this. Then it's just easy for them to consume in their classroom setting as well. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it's a big like, you know, with, you know, your guys' content and all the kind of other products that we've seen. It's like show not tell, right? Like you want the consumer to see what they're actually getting, what that product feature is, and I think the camera is like one of those examples. So in terms of like growth channels for you guys coming up in the next few months, what are you focused on? You know, I know you have the student ambassador program, but are there other growth initiatives that you guys are focused on, whether it's with us or outside? I think the audience would love to hear.
Yeah, I mean, we're always trying to like see like what is like the right hooking message on YouTube. So there's a lot of variation tests there, and we kind of bring that out to our ambassadors to see like, oh, is this more resonating to you, or like is this more resonating? But also we're trying to grow our Instagram channel right now and LinkedIn, and there are a lot of students that are like seeking for jobs, and like 70% of the college students they also participate in at least like one job before they graduate. So there's actually like statistics for that. And when there's so many students like looking for jobs and new opportunities, they're very active also on LinkedIn. So we're trying to kind of push forward the agenda for students that want to be more influential on LinkedIn as well. Yeah.
Got it. So like, is that like part of the student ambassadorship program where you're trying to get them on LinkedIn, or?
Yeah. Just like have them like post something, and also like just help them get more presence and more impressions on their posts as well. So that's like some of the things that we're doing, like help them become like individual influencers that talk about Liner. And also in terms of the channels too, I'm just not sure how much detail I can go on about it right
it's
now.
All good. I know.
Yeah.
But I mean, on Instagram, like what, you know, what do you think is going to drive that Instagram growth for you guys? What type of content are you focused on? Would love to hear a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely focusing a lot on short form right now, but we're trying to like find like the intersection of like the student daily life and also like what Liner can provide as a product. And currently we're focusing a lot on like the scenarios where students would just be wasting time, just looking for the right information or struggling with like irrelevant information across the web. And we're trying to make that into different contents, but also I think just like just basically replicating what our customers' study process actually looks like and making that into short form content, I think has worked pretty well. I think also like in our collaboration together, that seemed to be like one of the winning contents as well. And also like it's more of the resonating content on the organic side as well. Yeah.
It sounds like pain point focused hooks and like pain point focused content is like what works really well for you guys. Like you want to pitch Liner, you know, as like a painkiller instead of a vitamin.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. So just if you use liner in this kind of setting, you can save so many hours. You can do other stuff. You can spend time with your friends. You can go out, or you can just get some fresh air. Why waste so much time? Just like save time with liner. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing where, we've noticed like across the board, which is like products that are painkillers. And we say this all the time, painkillers sell better than vitamins. And it's actually true, painkillers sell a lot more. That's a bigger industry than the vitamin industry, but it makes sense because like at the end of the day, the consumer, I mean, maybe you can talk about liner is X% more accurate or Y%, better in this way or Y% faster. I feel like all those numbers kind of fly by a consumer's brain and they just want to, it's like, what problem is this product solving for me? Like, tell me, why would I use this product? And like, it seems like identifying that niche pain point is the best way to market for you guys and others.
You're right. And I think it also kind of has to do with like the target audience that we're facing and college students, right? It's like for most of them, it's like their first time leaving the household and actually starting an independent life. And they have to like start worrying about like college tuition, and they have to worry about like getting a job. They have to worry about like, getting the right courses and like what's like the best setup to like lead into a successful future. And there's so much research that students have to do inside and outside of the classroom, but they're not really getting the help that they need. And even for myself too, like I remember like applying to FAFSA was such a struggle.
Yeah.
And like also seeking like exemptions for like, I remember like I had to search so much to like find like how can I get like the tuition exemption from like out of state student, because I grew up in California and I wanted to get like the in-state tuition. But now, like, if you ask Liner, like, that would just come on.
Liner can help with
that. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, I thought it was mostly about research, but it sounds like more practical questions as well. You can basically answer with Liner.
Yeah, I mean, like, practical research, right? I mean, it's not always, like, research doesn't always happen in the lab setting. Like, every time you have to search deeper and deeper into, like, to find, like, the core answer that you want. I would consider that also to be research, yeah.
Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
I was using Liner the other day. I think I told you. I was like, I needed to find, for whatever reason, how many operations a computer did in a second. And I tried to look it up on Google and I could not find an answer. But I looked it up on Liner. I actually found like a reliable source. So it seems like, like more like kind of random questions, like it can help with that as well. And I think that's where it can be valuable for students and like otherwise, right? Like you guys have a lot of non-students on the product as well.
Right. Definitely different from country to country too. But right now, like that's one of the reasons why we have like a journal mode and a scholar mode in our product. And the scholar mode also came out by like different customer interviews with our master's and PhD students. And they wanted sources that were filtered mainly only with like research papers. And that had citations that they could use for their papers or abstracts. And that's why we have a scholar mode, but also we have a journal mode that supports like the answers based on like basically government issued papers or reliable documents, guru articles, stuff like that. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. I think, that was great. And I think to finish it off, what's next for Liner? Like what do you guys see as the future for you guys in next year? I know like I think the next few months are going to be great just given finals and there's a lot of things happening. And you can already see the momentum for you guys, but I'm curious, like what's your long-term plan? Both on growth and the product. I'd be curious to hear.
Yeah, I think when people think of the keyword like reliable information, just want it to be like about Liner. Yeah, when people need reliable sources of information, like the first thing that comes to their mind, I want it to be Liner. And hopefully next year, like we can have like more than 50% of the college students using Liner. And
wow,
that's a bold goal to have, but I think we can do it. And currently we're also trying to build a strong team, both located here, also in South Korea too right now. So expecting a lot of like new talent that are going to be coming in and leading the next wave for Liner. Yeah.
Nice. Well, I'm pretty excited about next year. I mean, you already see the adoption in colleges go up for you guys, and we've seen it ourselves. So pretty excited about next year. And yeah, thank you for coming on to the show. This is episode 1. So, I guess we'll see how this one turns out. But yeah, thanks again, and we'll see you guys in the next one.